podcast. For those of you who are going to be watching this on the replay, just to give you the format, we actually start off by doing a few housekeeping. It's very easy for people to say you should have a good attitude or a positive attitude, but if that's not how you feel, that's what I want to talk about is, how do you process that when you are not necessarily feeling very gung-ho at the moment? So hopefully that will help some of you, and that is what the intent is. Hi, Chip. Good to see you, and welcome. We are hopefully going to have some fun today. I'm going to be throwing out some famous or not so famous quotes about attitude and see how everybody reacts on that and whether people think it's, fine for some, but doesn't work for me. And if so, where do you go from there? Hi there, Jody. Good to see you as well. So it's one of those things that I've really been aware of this week, and I continue to, because of what I'm doing in my life. As some of you know, I am busy downsizing my whole life and trying to almost throw away half my life, if you can imagine that. It's, it's just like not an easy thing to do. And I don't really want to say that I have a good attitude all of the time because sometimes I absolutely don't. And I thought I would use some of my experiences to help this process and help explain what I do when my attitude starts to um, get caught up. Thank you, Jody. I appreciate that. Let me just check. Jody sent me a link, so I just want to pick that up for 1 second. Did you send it with Facebook? Hi there, Nana. Good to see you. There we go. And I'm going to have myself twice. I hope I don't mess this up. Am I still here? Okay. Oh, in a way that works much better, but now I've got a reverb. Hang on a second. I need to turn the sound off somewhere. I've never been able to get to this screen. Thank you, Jody. Okay, so hopefully this now is working. Just wait to reset. All right, my screen is frozen, so I don't know whether if you guys can hear me. Oh, you can hear me but can't see me. Okay, not quite sure what to do about that, except, oh, is it working now? You can hear and see. Okay, fine. All right, so Jody, perhaps we can take a time check of this time. So when I do when I put it up later, I can cut it starting at this point here, which, Let me see how I can find out where that is. I think I'll just have to do it manually. All right, not a problem. So, welcome to everybody who's here. I saw Chip come in. Andy, hi, and congratulations. Andy was just telling me that he produced a song, which I'm sure is very exciting for him. And this is actually very exciting for me because what I've discovered is I can now see who's in the room and when they come in and out and everything. So that is great for me. I can see it all on one page. I don't have to have two separate ones. Unless, of course, I want to see my notes of what I want to do, then maybe I do. Yeah, right. I forgot about that. So we're going to pull that screen out and we will try that. It's quite funny. And then, where is my broadcast screen? Okay, there we go. So many screens, so little time. All right, and we don't normally have all these problems because normally I don't do what I did this time. And let's hope that it's still working. All right, bear with me here because I have got another freeze going on my end, and I'm just hoping that you guys haven't got that happening at your end. Huh. I think I'm on two things at the same time. That's what's causing the problem. All right, let me go back to here. Can you all still hear me? And Jody, if you'd like to just please take a note of 7 minutes and 38 seconds is roughly where I'm going to start this broadcast. I will edit out the first bit. All right, everybody. I am hoping that you can all still hear me. And I've gone back to my original screen, which is a lot easier for me. All right, here we go. I got all excited for a second. Very dangerous for me. Wow. What I did is I accidentally pulled up. I had myself up on two different screens, which is what was causing the problem. That's awesome. Thank you guys for the feedback. I really appreciate that. And what I wanted to do is just a quick update on certain things before we start. It would help if I had that right screen up, and I'm going to, I closed the screen that I need, of course. You all knew that was coming. I should have just gone to bed, right? All right, so what we're going to be talking about today is how's your attitude? And the reason I wanted to talk about that is because it's been something that I've been really aware of during the last couple of weeks. And I thought what I would do is, do a little mini workshop with you where I could show you what's happened to me and then hopefully how that might relate to you. So before we do, can you believe I still don't have the right screen up? But I will very soon because, I'm annoyed now because I feel like an absolute putz here. Hang on. Here we go. We'll get there. Just give me 1 second. I wanted to do an update. If I can do it by memory, it'll be great. I wanted to do a quick update on Erin. I haven't heard any more. We're still waiting to find out whether or not she is going to be getting good results from her various blood tests so that she can have an operation that she needs. And poor kid, she's been waiting for this for a long time. And so I hope that it works. I really do hope that it works for her. In terms of Lauren, for those of you who know Lauren, she She's got a bit of a problem, and I'm laughing because Lauren is always so funny. She's got a bit of a problem because her blood pressure, for some reason, is elevating. Now that's not funny, and we all know that, and that's not. Why won't it open that screen? There we go. All right. Anyway, so her blood pressure has been elevated, and what she was saying to me last time was, I believe she's still waiting to get the results back to find out whether she's kept her. I think it's her liver numbers that need to stay down so that she can have this operation. Anyway, so I'll let you know. Sometimes she pops in on a Friday evening, so if so, she'll be able to tell you. Jody managed to crack a tooth this week. If you can, and I bet you're all going, ouch. Yeah. But praise be to God. And let's keep praying for that. She isn't in any pain, but she tried to get to a dentist to get it fixed. And that was a whole nother story. They told her it was all covered by her medical until she got there. And then they said no. So you can imagine she was not very amused by that. So best of luck, Jody. You'll be in our thoughts and prayers that you get another appointment that works for you. Did I hear you say, Jody, that you got one, but it means you've got to reschedule your MRI? Did I dream that one, or did I say, sometimes I'm not sure. And please remind me to talk about the sleep apnea thing. Kerry got a new job, and so did Beth. And Becca also is busy training to start a new job. So that's very exciting that Becca has taken that step. And I believe she's going to be a cashier at a dollar type store. So let's all wish her all the best, because that's a major step forward for her. As you know, she's been really having a tough time of it. So I'm very, very proud of her. Well, way to go. Just catching up on birthdays. I forgot to do that at noon today. For those of you who go way back, and I know Nana does, to remember Matthew and Christy. It's their anniversary on the 25th, Nana, just in case you need to know that. And then for those of you who remember Jenny Jen, she and Bear have a wedding anniversary on the 6th. And that's sort of the ones that we've got in the near future. So I thought I'd just mention that. So Jody, you might also let us know, how's your latte making doing? Jody's husband Lionel bought her a foam machine for congratulations on making it through. I think it's 3 years without cancer, right? Is it 3 or 5? I think it's 3, you said. And anyway, he bought her a steam foamer. You love that little gadget. Am I right that you wonder why you waited so long? Because that is a decadence that, if you like lattes, as you know I do, 3 years, you go, why did I wait so long to be able to make this for myself? Now, the other thing, is, next time he wants to buy you a little extra present, get some nice syrups that you can put in them. No calories in that whatsoever. It's a very important part of our life. Hi, Beth. So, Beth, congratulations. You actually got a double whammy. You started a new job, now that I think about it, and you got an extra work on another freelance job that you're doing. So congratulations. 2, actually, right? You picked up 2 extra contracts. So I thought that was wonderful. You're really going gangbusters. Anyway, so just to let you know, Beth, that Becca told us at lunchtime that she's just got a job at a dollar type store as well. She's going to be doing some cashier work. She's just busy training at the moment. So I thought that was really exciting. So that's sort of the main part of the catch up. And we'll do a time check here at 15:10, Jody. For those of you who are ghosting, I just wanted to say welcome. I know a lot of people do actually tune into the broadcasts, don't come into the chat. Hi, Erin. Give us an update when you can, Erin, so I can read it out. That would be awesome. So I just wanted to welcome the people who ghost, who don't necessarily want to come into the broadcast. I'm amazed how many people have told me over the years that they've listened to many, many broadcasts, never said anything, and for months, sometimes years, and then came in. So you are more than welcome. And if it helps you at all, we'd be delighted. By the way, if you'd like me to talk about a particular subject, please write to me. At the email address that Jodie's just put up on another issue. Just write to me there at DearMamaSal@gmail.com. Could it be easier? And let me know what you'd like me to discuss, and I will gladly do that. I won't mention your name unless you tell me to. If you say it's okay to use my name, then I've got that in writing, and I'm happy with that. All right, now then, on another side to this, if you're listening to this on the replay, and I know that some of you do that, some of you missed the original broadcast but catch up on the replay, here's a little something I'd like to just mention to you. If you find the broadcast of any benefit to you and would like to make a donation, Jodie will tell the people who are online at the moment how to do that. But if you're listening on the replay, please go to DearMamaSal.com. That's the website, DearMamaSal.com. And you'll find there's a donation button on the right-hand side there. Right at the top, I think, or fairly near to the top, on that first screen. And you can just press that. And I think, Jodie, there's a little bar thing at the bottom that you can adjust as to how much you'd like to donate. The reason I say that, it's not because I'm trying to money grab at all. It's now that I'm retired, I don't have as much income to pay for things like the web hosting and things like that. So any donation I get helps me just a little bit. And I thought I'd just mention that. So Erin's giving me the update. I will read that out because obviously she's happy for me to do that. Otherwise, she wouldn't have put it in here for me. Well, the good news is that I'm noticing a decrease in the blood sugar, and therefore the decrease in the prednisone is definitely not perfect yet, but it's getting lower. Yes, that's what I wondered. You've got to do another blood test on Tuesday, and then we'll have a much better idea. So big thoughts and prayers from us to you, Erin, that works for you for Tuesday. Well done. Thank you so much for updating us. So what I wanted to do, and this is our topic for today, is to do a little bit of work on our attitude. Let's see where we're all at. Now, the reason I say that, if I say to you that your attitude determines your life, how many of you would agree with it? Some of you know, for example, the whole study about the law of attraction. What you think about is what you attract to you. How many of you know that to be true? If you think negative thoughts, you will attract negative things to you. If you think positive thoughts, you will attract positive things to you. Now, what I really want to do, is there anybody out there in my universe saying, yeah, not so much? If so, be honest about it, because that's really important. Now, the reason I want to get everybody discussing it is because there are days when I think, not so much. As you can probably imagine, as I'm doing all this research, trying to find somewhere new to live, I still haven't found where I want to go when I grow up. And so I wanted to explain to you a little bit about that so you can understand it's not that you have a good attitude all of the time, but you know how to correct it. Remember last week when we were talking about the fact that, more than 80% of the thoughts we have in any hour, 80% of them are negative. I think it was more than that. But it was just like, it's a ridiculous amount. So what I'm trying to do is to make sure you understand that this non-perfect person that talks to you has these moments. And I really am noticing it a lot because I can't decide what I want to do next when I grow up. I know that's what I'm saying, because in a way it feels a bit childish, right? I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up. So what I wanted to do was do this exercise with you. Hi, Kerry. How was your day at work? Kerry had a new job start on Wednesday. Yeah, she did let me know she was going to be a little late. And you haven't missed very much, Kerry, I can tell you that. So it was a long day. Yeah. Yeah, we know about that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read out different positive quotes for you. And what I'd like you to do is to let me know, do you honestly agree or do you go, so let's call it yes, maybe, no. All right. Depending on how you hear what the quote is. I'm not sure who said this because I haven't got a reference to see who said it. Positive attitudes create positive people. Do you agree? Do you believe that positive thoughts produce positive people? Positive attitudes. All right. Do any of you say maybe? I'm not sure that's necessarily true. What about if you don't feel very positive today? Does that mean your life's going to go down the, you know what? So not only does it help to understand that your attitude determines how your life's going to be, how many of you know that your attitude determines your ability to recover? How many of you? I presume I can repeat that, Beth, for the replay. Maybe we should bring her in. Beth, just give me the okay that I can repeat that because I'm certain there are people that will relate to that one. Okay, thank you. All right, so Beth's saying sometimes when I'm positive, my sister gets annoyed with me. How many of you find that? How many of you find that when you're feeling positive, other people get upset about it? Yes, Chip. I also think it's okay to own your negative emotions if you're having a bad day. I don't believe that they are, long-term ones. I just get very interested. I give equal weight now. I know this is going to sound really strange, but I give equal weight to my bad emotions as I do to my good ones because I know that they are important. And that I like to think of my negative ones as my little kid screaming out in terror somewhere. Yeah, and so I'd like you all to know that we're not saying that you have to be positive all of the time, just be able to control it. Do you understand that if you notice you're going down that negative path, then go, okay, fine. Can I reverse this on my own or do I need to call out for a friend? Kerry, I think that you are so good at helping other people. I wonder whether you are as good at reaching out for help when you need it. Yeah, I find that people get pretty upset with me if I'm a happy little camper. And some of you have noticed that online. um, Kerry, that's not true. It took more courage to do what you did, and you were being a better friend to do what you did. You know that. You're only responsible for your side, right? No, you know something? I think you would like that person to be mentally healthier. I know you well enough to know you're not really quite as vicious as you might sound. You're frustrated because you can't fix them. Talk to Jody about that one. Well, Erin, isn't she blessed to have you to reach out to? And I really want to thank you. I've always said that half of the joy of doing Dear Mama Sal is that, I'm just the front person. What you guys do to help each other is amazing to my mind. Yes, I remember you saying that. When Beth, I'm just going to repeat this for the replay, but when Beth got her new job, her sister actually told her she was a loser to take the job. And and Beth said that, it made her feel like she made a wrong decision. You made the right decision for you, Beth. And, what anybody else thinks of that decision is none of your business, really. Beth, let me try and explain here something, and maybe it'll make a lot of sense to all sorts of people. How many of you know I've been looking at mobile homes? Do you understand? As soon as I talk about that, some people are thinking the trailer park boys. All right. Right. And so, I know people are going to judge that. I'm now looking. Yeah, that's a good thing, Kerry. Do that. Um, I'm also looking now at floating homes because I suddenly realized if I don't want to be doing mowing lawns and upkeep of a garden, why have a garden? Why not have a river as my garden? Or, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I'll consider a float home. Now, do any of you understand that there's this voice in my head that goes, that is not a very good investment? Do any of you understand that thinking? That if I went and got an apartment, that would be a better investment than a float home. Why? Because I'm not sure if it's true. I realize that I want to make a lifestyle choice this time, not as much of a practical one. And that is a really important thing. So one of the questions I had to ask myself this week was, when you see the views you get from a float home, do you like them? I'm going, yep. And there's light all around, it's like a house because it's like a giant size trailer, because you've got light all around you. And most of them have, a deck on top. They're no more expensive than an apartment or Kerry, would you like us to do work on that with you? Yes, and that's why when I'm looking, who's it? Jody just said, personally, I think whatever brings you happiness is the most worthwhile investment. What I realize is I'm not actually going to be wasting money as much as I will be locking up that much money because I don't believe a float home will deteriorate that much. Okay, so Kerry does need a little bit of help. So just bear with me, people, because my viewers needing help is always more important to me than any subject I might have decided to work on, because we will go back to the subject. All right, Kerry, so let's not talk about names, but let's think about this. What upset you? Because I want to relate this back into attitude so that we kill both birds with one stone. Let's keep the names out of it, but just, did this person say something that upset you? What happened to trigger you again? For those of you who maybe don't know about this triggering, sometimes things happen to us that causes us to suddenly start getting a negative reaction. And I call that a trigger because it triggers you from being a happy little camper to suddenly being, as Kerry said, pretty upset. So as long as you understand it happens to us all in different ways, and we need to do the thing that I was talking to Jody about, and giving her credit for at lunchtime, which is the important thing is to process it, because once you can process it, it makes so much more sense. So, Kerry, um, if you can give me a response to that, was it something that was said that triggered you, or was it said to somebody else and it was related back to you? Just try and give me a framework, because something pressed your buttons and I just need to know where to start this. Okay, fine. Oh, that's really okay, fine. So what happened was Kerry had been trying to help somebody, but she tried to set down a boundary, which is because she was getting overwhelmed with the negative stuff. And so she tried to create some space so she could recover, because she was dealing with her own stuff. And apparently, she was told that she abandoned the other person. Now, I know from what I have heard that Kerry did actually warn this person a couple of times that they needed, she needed to create this space, and they didn't listen. And when she then had to get pretty dramatic about making the break, now, of course, she's the bad guy, which we know isn't true. But you understand that is called transference. Kerry, you've seen it happen a number of times when I've tried to help somebody and they've transferred their stuff onto me and blamed me for stuff that I never did. I mean, I think you've seen that happen a number of times. And so one of the things, and it's frustrating. Yes, of course it is. But the thing is this, Kerry, you cannot teach somebody who doesn't want to learn yet. All right. You understand that? You need to just go and pray for her to find understanding. And just know that that person must be hurting quite a bit, um, to have lashed out like that. And, I think it's okay for you to write a note and say, I'm sorry that you feel that way. This was what happened. This was my intent. And I want to tell you, um, I want to tell you that I just, I'm always willing to help people. Yes, that's a very good statement, Beth. Hurt people hurt other people, right? It's called transference. And, as somebody once said to me, if you can stop seeing them as nasty people and see them as damaged people, and just try and find some compassion, doesn't fix your problem, Kerry. I understand that. So let's put it out to the room. I've got a lot of very caring, compassionate people here. I've got a lot of people who understand this problem. So my question to you is that when we continue to feel negatively about the other person, we extend our pain. That's what I believe. And so the only thing I can suggest is really wish them love, and just write back and explain your side. If they don't want to hear your side, that is just sad, and you don't have to convince them. Just tell them that was not your intent. Right? And just keep being a broken record. Yeah. If every time that they say that you did this to me, well, actually, that was never my intent. My intent was to give myself a bit of space. And I'm really sorry to hear that looking after me, um, made you feel abandoned. I've given you a lot of time, and I hopefully will be able to in the future. But right at that moment, I needed to work on me. And you quote me. What do I say at the end of almost everything I do? Look after one another, but most of all, look after yourself. I maybe quote that, Kerry, that I always tell people that it's okay to look after one another. And we're all inclined to be people nurturers, but please make sure you look after yourself first. And that is exactly what I mean. Yes, and most people, most people who are in that much pain, Aaron, do know how to press buttons and do guilt trips. So let me talk about that, because I hear this a lot. Aaron, is your experience that you got a guilt trip as well? Because maybe that's the way to stop it. I can't tell you the right way because I don't know where this person really is coming from. But I do believe that I've got a feeling that guilt comes into this comes into this quite a bit. I'm going to make you feel bad so that you will, feel sorry for me or whatever. So I would call it for what it is and say, it's strange. What you just said sounded like you're trying to lay a guilt trip on me. And I'd like to think that you're more adult than that. So do you understand that this was not my intent, and just be a broken record on that. But I think each time you hear the guilt trip, instead of internalizing it, both of you, instead of internalizing, call it for what it is. I really do try and do that. And I've trained my friends to do the same to me if I try and lay a guilt trip on them by accident. You'd like to think that you're an understanding, reasonable person, but really you find out you're just a human being, Carrie. And that's, can be pretty frustrating every now and then. I thought I had it all under control, but apparently I don't. I have to be in the right mood to be able to get it all under control. How many of you relate to that part of it? Kerry, it's such a true statement. Yeah, if you already came home in a bad mood, you were tired or whatever, that's just takes you over the top. But who's responsible for it taking you over the top? And I'd like to give you guys an example of that. I had a situation once where I helped somebody. They were actually, I've had this happen a couple of times in my life, but don't worry about that. This, one somebody I know got into a very bad place, and nobody in their life wanted to help them. And of course, when everything else fails, they call me. And so I went and saved them, and I gave them a home, and I gave them food and shelter and a chance to put their feet back on the ground. And the interesting thing was that once he had got his feet back on the ground, he then took it upon himself to call me the most terrible names you could imagine. She phoned you at work, Kerry? Sorry, Kerry's saying that this got thrown in her face at work. Or did you happen to be checking your emails at work or your Facebook or whatever? Because, all right, so you need to, yeah, I'm sure you did. You're hoping that this person will have enough decency not to send you that sort of message while you're at work. I'm pretty certain that you could take a deep breath when you process it out, Kerry, and go, if I hadn't checked my Facebook, I would not have seen the message. you know and therefore maybe I've got to learn not to check my Facebook when I'm at work because I could get triggered. Now the reason I'm saying this is, Kerry, when this person in my life suddenly, after 6 months of my having looked after them, called me all sorts of terrible names and told me I was this, that, and the other, and oh gosh, it was horrible. The most amazing thing, Kerry, was for the first time in my life, I understand. I read this thing and I started to react, and then I stopped and I went, this has nothing to do with me. This is evil stuff. And it is transference. This person is angry because they could not manipulate me to do what they wanted, and therefore they are attacking me. And I get it. And, I literally went, so be it. And I must admit that I said, a prayer for them, and I hope that they would have a happy life somewhere along the line. But sure as heck, the next time they hit rock bottom, they better not be calling me. And I know that sounds terribly cruel, but if you do that to me after I've done everything I can to help save you, in terms of giving you home and shelter and understanding as far as I could, if you're going to hit me in the face with that later, that's your right. But then find somebody else to suck dry next time. So to me, Carrie, this is about you, not about the other person, all right? So yes, I agree with you. I'm certain you will always check your Facebook messages, and I'm certain everybody agrees with you. So that's the point I'm trying to make, that if you don't want to get a bad message, don't check your Facebook. If you have to check your Facebook, then it's up to you to control your reactions. It's not up to the people sending you the messages. When people send me Facebook messages, Kerry, at 3 o'clock in the morning or 4:30 in the morning, ask Jody or Lauren, I get them all the time. I don't believe it's their intent to necessarily wake me up. I think that they just live in another country where it's daylight where they are. Beth, I'm so proud of you. Beth is saying that she knows now that, her sister is just waiting for her to blow up and have the argument. Some people get real fun out of having an argument. And she's saying that she won't allow her to do it anymore. She'll just say, I'm sorry you feel like that, and leave it. I want to tell you that I found that's what I had to do with my sister, Beth, because boy, can she do a number. And what I do is, I did for a number of times, is anytime she did that number, I just chose to leave. And I would say, I'm really sorry, but I choose not to stay here and get verbally abused, however politely you're doing it, or you think you're doing it. That's still what's happening. And so I choose to leave. And I'd be, somewhere halfway down Washington State. And I would literally go and get my bag and pack it and leave. And it's like, people can't make me sit and take that anymore. So, Kerry, what I'm saying to you is, you are only responsible for your behavior, right? So if you cannot control how you feel when you get that guilt trip, just keep working at it, because that is the trick. When you can let the arrows come at you and you just go, okay, that's their stuff, go away. That's their stuff, just go away. I refuse to let it ruin my day anymore. That is, yeah, I know, honey. You would so like me to tell you something else. I know that. But you have grown so much, and I know that any human being would get upset as you have. It's like when I first started the little group that is Lauren, Jody, and myself. I started that little group. We have a little messenger group together because I knew Jody had a lot of stuff going on. So did Lauren. And so what I wanted to do was to have time to talk to them and do, be human with them at a different level. And I found it really interesting that now whenever I need to vent them, I go to people. Why? Because they totally get it now. And you see, that's an important thing to know. What do you need to do to change your attitude? And that's what we're talking about today. So number one, Dora, your dog, right, changes your attitude. The horrible weather depresses an awful lot of people. And you need to be aware of that. Why do you think, Kerry, I am so scared about going to live somewhere that doesn't have as much light as I have here? Oh, Kerry, to have the right to vent is one of the most important things that we do here, I think. Because let me just make sure you understand. You talking about this helps other people see when they do it as well. When they get this large sucking sound and they can't stop that vacuum and they get drawn into it. Because that is what happens, right? And Kerry, I think you've heard me say a number of times, and I will continue to say it, um, that life will keep bringing you the same problem until you learn how to control it. That is the amazing thing. Jody, when she put down the boundary that she needed to put down not so long ago, thought she would never hear from those people again, and was prepared to pay that price if necessary. But guess what? It didn't happen. The worst didn't happen. Yeah. So Kerry, I think you need to give yourself credit, if you wouldn't mind. I'd like you to give, um, I'd like you to give yourself credit for having the courage to talk about it because not many people do. And the other thing is, I'd like you to know that you will continue to help that person in some way or another because that's who you are. And, just remember this person needs help at a level you cannot give them. And that is made very obvious because because of the reaction. And and she knows that. And I believe she is getting it. So therefore, give her time. I, for one, have to tell you that I've been on that side. I've been where she was in my life. How many of you relate to being that other person that doesn't have the boundary and just keeps being the squeaky wheel and the negative squeaky wheel? Yeah. So I've been that person. So that's why I say, as somebody else said, hurting people hurt other people, but not necessarily intentionally. They're trying to get help. They're trying to feel better. And they've got a really funny way of doing it. Making other people feel bad isn't the way to do it. We know that. But my heart bleeds for that person because, it must be a horrible way to live. So, I really hope that they get the help they deserve. And I have to say that. How many of you believe that a positive thought is the seed of a positive result? Kerry, you're allowed not to be perfect, especially on Fridays. It's okay. It really is okay. You see, you're saying, I'm trying to be a polite, kind, and good friend. Well, a polite, kind, and good friend, you know, is allowed to have off days. Believe you me. Yeah. So, anything the mind, some of you know this quote from Napoleon Hill, and I love it. Anything the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. How many of you believe that to be true? I often quote Dr. Jerry Jampolsky and his comment, his statement about love is letting go of fear, and that there really are only two emotions, love and fear. And so when I keep bringing it back to what's happening with me as I'm doing this incredible research into all the possible things I can do when I move. One of the things I had to ask myself, and I don't know if any of you, um, any of you will relate to this. I had to stop because what I realized was I kept saying to myself, Yes, but is this a good investment? And I'm going, I kept hearing myself say, yes, but is it a good investment? And I'm going, wait a minute, let me just think about this. Is this a good investment in what way? All right. Is it a good investment that I look for lifestyle rather than for, a good investment? I want a lifestyle. I want to be amongst creative, helpful, funny people. I would rather wake up in the morning with an incredible view of water and skylines than of a car park. Am I weird or what? Do you understand that? It's like I get to choose, and I thank you for whoever it was. I think it was Jody who said, that's not a bad investment. I know that if I end up in a dark and dingy place, I will end up depressed again. And however much I know that's what will happen. Yes, you see, the thing why that's good, Erin's a good person for you to vent at is because Erin has very strong boundaries, right? She will listen, but she won't let you whine, right? And that's the same thing. If you think about what Erin does for you, that is a good way to treat the other person, which is, hey, I listen, I care, but my job is not to let you complain endlessly, because that's not helping you at all. And really, I'd like you to think about how much of your day you spend complaining about things and feeling sorry for yourself. And and if it's more than 50%, you need to get some help. So this isn't that we're being negative. Yes, you checkmate each other a lot. Jody will tell you, Kerry, how often have you heard me say, I need some help on this, so I'm going to talk to Kerry? I can't talk to Jody because she'll be so forgiving. How many times have you heard me saying it? Well, it's interesting. All right. So Jody is saying here, you're setting yourself up for success in avoiding the depression trap. You see, I know myself quite well. You are making smart, careful considerations and being proactive about knowing what I need. Yeah, Jody. You see, so to me, that is exactly what I'm hearing, and I go, maybe it's not the best financial choice. All right. But you know what it is, the if I get a mobile home, I'm gonna have to pay a pad rent. If I get a float home, I am going to pay a water mortgage rent. Do you know what I'm saying? Which is less than the pad rent, by the way. And you go, I actually get a much better view. I get views of yachts and rivers and sunrises and sunsets. Um, and ducks and fish and stuff like that. I can fish off the edge of my dock. And so, you look at that and I've got light everywhere. What's not to love about that? No lawns. What's not to love about that? I can still do container gardening. So because I want a roof deck or at least a good surround where I can do that. So I'm going, I think it's doable. How many of you can't wait to see it when I find it? And so we go to the James Allen quote, which is fresh air, exactly. I want to sit out with my coffee watching the tugboat go down. Yeah. Morning, Joe. How many of you can see me there? Yeah, morning. No, Kerry. Excuse me, Kerry. Just tell your mommy to hush a moment in your mind, because I think there's a difference between whining and venting. Yes, it's interesting. Erin's saying, Listen, Aaron, anytime you want a 2x4, you know who to ask, right? Yes, because I agree with you. When I need help, I normally need help because I need somebody not to be too compassionate. Somebody needs to hold my feet to the fire a little bit. Not be uncaring, but just like, okay, I need to get this done. And by the way, I'd like to thank you all. I'd like to thank you all for your support last week, because I got over 30 minutes of shredding done, sorting and shredding, which was my goal. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I have a little bit left to do, which I hopefully will get some cleared off tomorrow. And I shredded about this much stuff. It was just amazing how much I shredded. So thank you so much. But if I hadn't been accountable to you guys, I don't think I would have done it. Sharon, hi there. Yeah, you like the idea of a float home as well. What I want to tell you, everyone I see, I go, yeah, I can see myself in there. And I'm almost saying, and I could actually do with not all the fancy upgrades if I could live in that sort of environment. And the only thing that worries me, and that's why I'm trying to keep a positive attitude, the only thing that worries me is at my age, when you're on a float home, you have to sort of go from land onto docks, floating docks. And, so that can be a little bit difficult at my age, especially if it's icy or rainy. Yeah, Nana, I see your comments. I'm sorry if I'm not replying to them all. I'm trying to keep up with everything. See how often it rains here. So your point being that I just want to make sure I get your point. Yeah, so this is a good thing, Sharon. You were worried about that too, all right? How much I'm going to slip or whatever. But so think about it. That was one of the first things I thought about. Slippery wood, icy wood in the winter. What are the chances of my slipping and falling into the river? Well, here we come back to attitude. So let's do that as the little workshop. Let's say that is our problem. You remember we were doing the mind mapping the other day? I really got to get my easel out here so that I can show you this on a big piece of paper. But imagine that's the problem I put into the center of the mind map. Let's see how many solutions you have for me. How can I not have a problem carrying groceries back down a slippery gangplank, let's put it that way, or on slippery wood or whatever. Let's hear how many solutions you have. Yes, if I have to use a walker, would that be really difficult? Yeah? Sharon, how well do you know me? The other question is, what if I ended up in a wheelchair? All right. Now, I could go down that road a lot. And my question would be, what if I don't? Right. And, but, you still have to go out to get the milk and eggs and everything else. But how many of you know that if I was genuinely in fear, I'm pretty sure that I could convince a neighbor to just help me out a little. You know what I mean? It was like, I'm really sorry, but I'm scared to go out. Do you think you could possibly pick me up some milk and eggs while you're out? I think I could do that. I think I could find that person to help me. And then find out what their favorite meal is and make sure I cook it for them every now and then as a thank you, or invite them over for a barbecue when the rain's not so bad. So I was saying that, if I ended up with that situation, I'm pretty certain I would MacGyver myself a way to get to get up and down. Yeah, I'd phone, Nana, could you do me a favor? Yeah, you see, there's always going to be a kind-hearted soul like Nana around. And by the way, if I'm having a problem pushing stuff up the hill, you know, and how many of you know I would probably stand at the top of the ramp, if that's the case, carrying my bags going, can anybody help me? And, I'd find somebody. Yes, and Sharon, that's why I'm saying that's why I wanted to talk about attitude. How many of you can see that I could have the what if monster kill any joy about this if I wanted to? Because what I'm not saying is, what if it doesn't happen? What if I don't end up in a wheelchair? Would I want to enjoy that lifestyle and that mentality of people? You understand that boating people are like camping people. They help one another. Um, and they wave and they actually care about who their neighbor is. So to me, it's a lifestyle decision that the two things are really important to me. One is that I get enough light because I suffer from, SAD syndrome. But the second thing is, and I really have been so much healthier since I've been in this place because it is so light. And the second thing is, I'm a community person. You know, and yeah, I like to, it's not that I want to be fixing things for everybody, but I like it when somebody goes, hi, Sal, you know, or, as they're going off with their yacht, see you later, or bye, do you want to come out with us today? Yeah, um, and they have the greatest parties as well, people. Believe me, I've been to a few. Nice people. Yep. And you see, Jody, that's why I wanted to give you a life example from my life. So how many of you know that you let the what if monster control your life? And so really what I'm trying to do is give myself permission to not make the best financial investment, but to make a lifestyle investment. And to be okay with it. Now, let me be quite clear. I'm actually on a path. I've told my realtor to go find me corner units, top floor, anywhere within about a 25-mile radius of where I live right now. Because I want to check out, are there any to die for apartments that I should look at that actually will bring me a lot of light and all that I want in terms of finishing, if I can get it, and maybe I have to work harder at the community side and make new friends in the new area. But I do know from my experience of being a camper that I really have fun when I go camping, because I am a chit chatter. You know that. I do things for people, and I do interact with people. Yeah, Kerry, the what if monster is really a dangerous one, and I realize that it is capable of overwhelming me if I'm not careful. So I understand that part of me wants to make the right choice, because what will happen is, the next move I make might be into a care facility. So I might as well do something that I enjoy now, because I'm pretty sure I'm not going to enjoy being in a care facility. How many of you know? Or I'd be trying to run the place, one or the other. All right. Let's try another quote and see how we do on this one. So, how many of you believe that your prosperity starts with a state of mind? And again, that's law of attraction. If you believe good things are coming, they probably will. But if you believe bad things are coming, you could be right. And I say that because of the law of attraction. So I'm busy going, I haven't quite seen what I want yet. Yeah, I not only that, Sharon, from my experience, at night around the campfire with a drink in your hand, shooting the breeze. Yeah, and I'm not a drinker. This is the funny thing. But I would literally get myself some wine just so I could go and sit round and shoot the breeze. And I have seen them have sort of group barbecues and those sort of things. I know that's important to me. I'm not a very big social person, so it is really like camping on the water. The drink was a given. Yeah, exactly. Um, and the other thing is, I do have a pretty good sense of humor, and I'm not altogether stupid. So people do quite enjoy having me in that environment. And so, to me, I think it's going to be quite exciting, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy meeting some new people, because you will. So listen to this one. I like this one. This is no problem can withstand the power of sustained creative thought. So that is why you need to vent, right? Because you need your negative thought to be overwhelmed, by positive ones. So when you vent, it's really important that you get that negativity out, Kerry. Does that make sense? It is, in fact, the most healthy thing you can do. But do it with people who understand what you're doing. You're not complaining. You're getting that negativity out. So if you think about it, this person of whom we speak has got so much negativity inside them. I mean, don't you feel sad? I feel really sad for that person, because to live your life with that much negativity going on is so painful. I've been there. And so I really have to say that, the right nurturing, the right boundaries, all those sort of things, I don't think they were put in. Erin says, if you ended up in a care facility, ma'am, you would very quickly have the run of the place, and no matter how much help you needed, you wouldn't. You don't think I'd have everybody doing everything for me? No, I don't think so either. No, they'd know. They'd know my sort, I'm sure. But if they're smart, that's one thing I always used to do when I was training people, Erin, is I used to say, if you have got somebody who likes control, and is an organizer and can control things like that, use them. Don't block them, use them. And I always used to say to people like Benji and so forth when I was teaching leadership, I said, they are the most difficult people to manage because they have an opinion and they're not scared to give it. But if you use them well and you actually go, now listen, I need your help. I need this, and this organized, and you look like the person who can do that for me. They will go out of their way to prove you right. So it's not about that I like controlling things. What I like is I love to get things, I'm a problem solver. I can't remember how many people have said to me, you would have done so well in the pioneer days, Sal. And I said, yeah, but I'm not so good with, the Indians, bows and arrows and stuff. That would have really scared the life out of me. But, other than that side of it, the scalping and stuff would not have been my idea of fun. But, other than that, I think the actual journey and I think would have been quite interesting. And I'm certain that necessity taught them so much. Have any of you made your own yeast, for example? I kept asking myself, how did they make bread in the pioneer days? Because, they didn't, I'm pretty certain they weren't running off to the local store to go and get another little bottle of yeast. So have any of you made that sort of bread where you don't use yeast out of a bottle, you actually create your own? And if so, you will understand, gosh, why didn't I think about that? Sometimes the most simple solutions, I'll go back and ask yourself, how did they do that in my grandmother's day? when they didn't have all these fancy products. It is interesting. Now then, this is an interesting one. Let's see how you do with this one. Listen to this and see if you agree or not. And if you have an example, throw it out here. Our life is a reflection of our attitudes. Do you believe your life is a reflection of your attitudes? I would also like to say that our life is a reflection of our choices. We are where we are today because of the choices we have made. Yeah, I don't think it's about controlling because I would never see it as a one-way thing, Erin. I agree with you. To me, it's like, could you do me this favor? And by the way, do you happen to like, roast beef and Yorkshire pudding? Because I'm pretty good at that. And I'll gladly whip that up for you while you're busy doing shopping. That is, by the way, pick up some roast beef so I can do another one. So, that's the sort of person I am. And I think a lot of you know that of me. I don't expect something for nothing. Um, oh, Jody. Jody, you think you have been unduly blessed and did nothing to deserve it. Really? I would love to believe that that would be true. But, I've got to sit here and say, what a load of malarkey that is, Jody. Because, look at how much you do to help people, including me, every day when you are going through your own version of hell. And you actually think that you don't deserve it? Yeah, right. Yeah, Erin, and I think, we need to be aware. Yeah, really, right? So Erin's also rolling her eyes on this one. Well, you know something, Jody? Who gives a? I I say the same thing sometimes. What did I ever do to deserve, the things I have in my life? And I have so much to be thankful for. And this it's so funny because I look at it and I go, this is a first world problem. You don't have these sort of problems when you live in a third world country, without enough food. You don't worry about, well, shall I live in a float home, a mobile home, an apartment, or a dirty great fifth wheel? You don't have that sort of worry. And I'm very grateful for the fact that I can sit here. And by the way, how lucky am I that I have, created some equity in my home so that I can make an outright purchase when I finish here. I can actually make an outright purchase and still have some money to live on. Yay! Was that a good investment? Yeah. So, Jody, I know that you're not looking for strokes, but there's part of me that goes, seriously? Jody, if I said to you, well, I don't know what I've ever done to deserve, you know, whatever. Do you roll your eyes, Jody? Think about that. And then ask yourself, why is it any different for me than it is for you? Just answering the question. I'm not trying to punish you for answering the question, but I'm just making sure that you understand what I'm saying. I believe half of our problem in life is that we don't think that we deserve anything better. How many of you understand what I'm getting at here? I really don't deserve all this goodness in my life. I haven't done enough. Well, if you believe that, guess what's going to happen? You're really asking for the law of attraction to bring you some more negative stuff because apparently you've had too much good stuff. So be careful what you think about people, right? Because you can create, your own worst enemy if that's what you want. Yes, but Beth, I was saying what you said earlier. It went past, and like Nana, I didn't get a chance to answer it in the moment. Example from your life, Beth. Life has changed from the choice. Life has changed from the choices I made for myself. I will be. I will forever be changed and a better person for thinking of myself first. Yay! Yes, and how many of us give so much time to everybody else? You know, yeah, what if in the end result we get judged on how well we looked after ourselves? How many of you be going, wish I'd known that earlier? Yeah, some Peter's up there going, okay, let me see here. Oh, you gave a lot of time to those people in that organization. Yeah, you gave a lot of time here. Yeah, what a pity you didn't look after yourself. Okay, bye. Yeah, it's your stuff. And that's the whole thing, Jody, right? That we all are learning. It's not just you, honey. You do deserve a lot of good in your life. I want to tell you that. And and you got Lionel because you did deserve him. I'm trying to work out what you did. I want me a Lionel in my life, right? So, and it's like Nana and Rick. You know what I mean? You look at Nana and Rick and you go, yeah, well, something went really right for Nana on that one. For all that went wrong in Nana's life, Rick was the reward. And so you understand that's an important thing. I was thinking about Pat and the trailer. For those of you who weren't there, I was just talking about you, Nana. I was talking about you and Rick. Um, when I was talking to Pat at lunchtime, she's out in the trailer again and loving every moment of it. And she's saying they've even got special computers for the trailer. They've doubled up on everything so they don't have to keep lugging things backwards and forwards in the house. They just have everything doubled up in the trailer. I think, that's called living the life, isn't it? Well, you know something, Jody. I'm glad, Nana. You know something, Jody, that I know you've been in more pain recently. And that's a bit like Kerry was saying, right? That normally she would have probably reacted differently to the negativity if she'd been, not already tired and a little bit pissed off with the weather and whatever. Then what happens is, she's already down and then this next bit hits and then she just, erupts. So I understand that you can cope with a lot more when you're not in pain. Erin will probably tell you the same thing. Anybody who suffers from pain all the time will, I want to tell you something. I so admire anybody who lives their life with pain. I really do. And that can live it fairly joyously with pain. To me, you get a gold star from me anytime. Now, I do want to make a confession to you. I was a bad girl today. I did let something trigger me. And it caused me to swear out loud at the television and then turn it off. And I haven't turned it back on since. And I realized that I had, a bit like Kerry, I was up to here and I did not want to hear another word from that person. So I shouted that they should go away. I didn't use those two words, but it had the same meaning. And I just went, what happened? And I'm going, you have had enough. It's just like, if you hear any more of these lies, it was President Trump, I'm afraid. But I was just hearing him manipulate one more time, and I just went, And I just went, "Coom," and I turned my television off. It was like, really, I will not listen to you lie to us anymore. Yeah, put a fork in me, I'm done. But I'm sorry, it's just like, really? It's like, ugh! And so I'm sorry, and I'm probably lost a lot of viewers because I have voiced this from the beginning, but, I do not trust this man at all, and I'm very sorry about that. Um, I think he's highly manipulative, and I think, there are a lot of things that are shell games going on. He's getting you to watch over here while he's busy doing this over here, and it scares me. It scares me, and what worries me, what really worries me is how much damage is he doing internationally, and how much time will it take to fix that when he's gone? And will the American people stand up and be counted? I don't necessarily think so. So, it's going to be interesting. But when you start hearing that there's going to be a neo-Nazi group um, doing a rally outside the White House, you're going, really, this is going to be really fun to watch, right? Yeah, it's scary to me. It really is, Erin. And I try not to be on one side or the other too much, but I'm afraid on this one, I didn't particularly like Hillary Clinton either. I want to make sure you know that. But it's like this, what I'm watching going on, what I saw go on with the children. And by the way, did you see he made it onto the front page of Time magazine? Yeah, Chip, and how much dirty business is still going on. And what on earth is he discussing with North Korea and Russia together? That worries me. And China. That scares me a great deal. Now, here's a nice quote for you all. There are things I can't force. I must adjust. There are times when the greatest change needed is a change of my viewpoint. He threw stardust candies at Angela Merkel. Oh, Angela Merkel from Germany. Huh. I was thinking Meghan Merkel for Mark, whatever. I got those two muddled up for a second. Yeah, I got it. I got it now. I want to tell you something. I would love to have been a fly on the wall at that meeting where the G7 meeting. I bet you that wasn't a really interesting meeting to be in. So how many of you know that? Yeah, thank you. There are things we just can't force, right? We must adjust. There are times when the greatest change needed is in us. How many of you understand that? That really, when we want everybody else to change, is the time we need to turn the mirror around and go, how do I need to change? You know that you have grown when you can turn the mirror and go, okay, this is about me. It's not about them. So you understand when I got PO'd with what was going on the television, and I was swearing at the television. Do you think the television cared? No. Do you think the fact I turned off my television made an effect anywhere? No. The only person it upset was me. Okay, Chip, that's good. How about this one? Do you believe that the world hungers for positive attitudes? Do you believe that if we could see a good side to what's going on politically, do you think that the world will want to go back to maybe a little more decency and humanity and compassion? And that doesn't mean that we want open borders where every terrorist is allowed in. I don't know. Did he really think we believe that? It means that we want good, immigration policies, but what we would like is to still have compassion. There are genuine political asylum seekers, genuine ones. I met one, you know, um, and you go, there is a difference between that and people just crossing the border illegally. And to lump them all together, I think is such a disservice to those who are running for their lives. That's just my view. When you try to pretend that everybody is like this person, that, Now, how many of you saw the issue about the coat that the first lady was wearing? I don't care, do you? All right. How many of you? Thanks, Jody. Jody's just saying, if you happen to be watching this on the replay, by the way, if you would like to make a donation so that we can keep us on the air a bit longer, please just go to DearMamaSal.com and there is a donation button on there. Yes, do you think it was an accident? Do you think that she just happened to put that coat on? Have you ever seen her wear a coat with something written on the back before? I never have. Um, And yes, the other thing is that is not an expensive coat. That is an off-the-rack type cheap coat. So do you think this was an accident? I thought it was very ill-advised. I am amazed that somebody didn't stop her on that one. I didn't think it was a coincidence. Rick was sick about it. You know something? I agree. I just going, I don't know why. Now, I got triggered with that one as well. I'm going, I liked you up until then. I thought you actually had, some decency in you. But, to wear that coat yeah, that was a statement. Yeah, that was a statement, I'm afraid. I cannot believe anybody who thinks out every outfit that she wears. I mean, that's one of the things. She spends hours and hours working out what outfits to wear, at what occasion, and does so with great grace, in my view. All right. She really works to wear the red, white, and blue when she's with the French, or, she really works to wear jade colors, whenever you go, really this was totally a bad move, in which case she needs to own it and apologize, or else, that this was weird. So I need to change my attitude. Yeah, difficult for me. All right. Here's the next one. I'm trying to work on this, people. Bear with me here. Right. Keep your heart right, even when it's sorely wounded. Is Kerry still with us? The reason I say that is because that is the journey, in my view, is learning how to protect your heart from what's going on the outside. And so often we have things that hurt us, and instead of transferring that hurt onto others, to be able to stop that hurt from actually hitting our heart. Yeah, we can hear it and we can feel sorry for the person that's in that much pain, but we don't need to get out of control all the time. Let's keep working at keeping our hearts right. You do not have the right to get into my heart. That's my property, right? I look after that. And if I give my heart away, you better not trample on it either. That is the other thing. How many of you have spent your life giving your heart away when... Wow, listen to what Beth says. I love that statement. My journey is not my heart. It's my inner voice to myself that interferes with my progress. Yes, it's your... So what does your inner voice say to you? It's okay. Carrie, I love you so much, honey. Keep your heart right. You know that you're a kind, loving person. You always will be. So, anything you tell me other than that, I don't care that you're having a bad hair day. That's quite all right with me. But don't you dare tell me you're not a compassionate, caring person because, yeah. um, Sorry, that's a thing between Kerry and myself. Um, yes, Beth, you're not good enough, right? That inner voice. Oh, you're not good enough. You don't deserve this. You and Jody should get together. You're both on that track half the time. But you know something, Beth? I think you've proven in the last couple of months. Whenever you feel like that, bring out your badge. There's a reason why I sent you a badge. Yeah, what if they were right about me? I'm really a loser. Yeah, what if your sister's right? Well, you know what I do, Beth? You know something, Beth? What I would do is I'd spend my life proving them wrong on principle, right? It's just like, you know, do you know how many people worked at companies where people thought they were losers and they worked so hard at it, they ended up owning the place? You know, I'm thinking about people like Walmart and, things like that. They just, they weren't losers. Right. Yes, I think God will continue to give you enough, don't you, Nana? I believe that people like Aaron and Jody get given these incredible, difficult lives, not because they're being punished, but because they have such an incredible talent to be able to cope. Nana, you've been given a lot to your cross to bear has been huge, and yet look how you've carried that cross. And so I look at it and go, gosh, I cannot tell you how many times I sit here and I'm so grateful I'm not sitting in your shoes, half of you. Ah, Beth, you need a hug, honey. So, do we need a pity party thing, or are things happening that have overwhelmed you? Because there's a difference normally. You're allowed to have bad days, Beth. Welcome to our world. We're humans. We're not perfect people at all, honey. You're nervous. This about the new job? Ah, don't you dare prove her right. Well, okay, so let's say she is right. Let's change our attitude. Yeah, you just keep faking it until you make it, Kerry. You're right. So Beth, think about this. Let's talk the other side of it. Let's get our minds right. What if she is right? But you need to prove that to yourself. And maybe that's the way you defend, that you retaliate when she says those things, which you know something, I thank you for your input. You could be right. But I'll let you know if I agree with you after 6 months. But I really thank you for your input. I'm sure it came from a good place. You see, I'd like to think somewhere at the bottom of my heart that your sister actually is trying to protect you from a bad job, in her view. So, your job is, not to be run by your sister. That's really what the job is. And we all have different people that control us in our heads, right? So don't think you're alone. You're not, Beth. You've done a great job. You need to be proud of yourself. I hope you are proud of yourself because you have done a lot in the last couple of months. Well, okay, so who told you weren't good with people? I think the thing about whether you're good with people or not is, do you like people? Right? Because if you like people, you probably are good with people. You will take the time to listen to them, or you will make them feel good about themselves. So, yeah, you understand that inner voice doesn't want you to fail. The inner voice is trying to protect you. Okay? Can you hear, Beth, honey, listen to me a second. Can you hear that my inner voice keeps saying to me, but is this a good investment, Sal? Are you going to waste your money and end up on the street in 10 years' time? Do you understand that's my inner voice? So scared. That's the fear side of me. If I let my fear control me, I will be doing the wrong thing. Beth, does this make any sense? So sometimes we need to hear the inner voice and know it's trying to protect you, but then go, excuse me, as an adult, I have to tell you, as much as I want to make a good investment, I will need to make a good investment in my mental health. And for that, I need light, and I need an interesting environment, and I need people around me that are going to care whether I wake up in the morning or not. People that I can care about. I think about Nana in her environment. She is in a place that she is in, a really nice little community where she is, all right? And people do things for one another, and they do care, and they do, cook meals for one another and do all sorts of nice things. So, that's part of being in a community, and it's nice. You have been hiding your whole life. You're right. And you know something else, Beth, from what I've heard of your story, and I could be wrong on this, but let me know. I think you've been punishing yourself your whole life too. And yet you've managed to do so much. I see you as a real go-getter. When you get moving, you really move, Beth. You don't mess around. I know an awful lot of people with addictions, and I've helped a lot of people with addictions, Beth. And one of the things that I always, whenever I've worked, I donate time to help at halfway houses and things like that. But one of the things I've always heard them say is, you only deal with one addiction at a time. I saw you work on your eating habits and quit smoking almost the same month. I think it was within the same month. Not many people can do that. So I think the greatest gift you could give Beth is actually to love the real Beth if you can find out who she is. And I think you're doing that. And it's like, the real Sal is actually still the kid that likes to play with mud pies. You know what I mean? I like to throw paint around. I like to, yeah. Putz, I think is the word. And it's okay. That's I've never really given myself a lot of time to do that. Yeah, Kerry, I think you are not alone in not knowing, what's outside that shell of yours, right? I think you're going to end up surprising yourself. I think you get glimmers of it, though. Yes, Beth, I think that's a wonderful way. And that's about attitude. What if you say, this job is to teach me more about myself? I will stay open to the things that I like and the things that upset me, knowing that each is a lesson to me. Do you know, I do the same thing, Beth. I would love $5 for every hour I have spent looking at apartments, online, all the different possibilities. I really, $5 an hour would be a good repayment to me. I'll take 10 if you can give it. But I would have a lot of money because I keep going, which ones make me smile? Which ones do I go, that's nice. I can see myself in there. And there was one that was cute as a button and half the size of what I thought I needed, but it was really that. I think if I spoke to Mike, he wouldn't agree, Kerry. I really don't believe you're a dull person, anything but dull. But if you want me to believe that, why would you want me to believe that? How could you say that about yourself? Wow. Um, well, no, wait a minute. Maybe she's been lying to us all this time. Maybe she really is a dull person underneath it all. And all that we've seen of her attitude and spunk and feistiness is just show. What if that is true? So don't so part of me is going, Kerry, you need to tell me which one is the real you. Because the person that has stood up to me time and time again, the person that's kibitzed with me for all these years, yeah, has not been a dull person. But maybe that's not the real you. Help me here. Because I've always been told I'm too much personality, too big, too bold, and so I'm in my shell. Well, you know what I say? Go away. Use two other words, Gary, in your mind, because I am who I am, and you're either going to learn to adjust or, you know, so be it. What you think of me is none of my business, Kerry. Remember? Terry Cole Whitaker. Get that book and read it, Kerry. What you think of me is none of my business. Yes, Beth. And that's what we all got attracted to. It's her. Yeah, I love your blunt to the point, and also optimistic attitude. So yes, it's like Kerry. One of you is lying, or you, like the rest of us, you have days when you're one, and there are days when you're the other. In which case, I would believe that, because I assure you, the days when I am one of the nicest people you'll ever meet, and there are other days when I am the bitch from hell. And I'm trying to sort of balance those two out a bit. All right, so here's another one for you all. A chip on the shoulder indicates there is wood higher up. You can't have chip on your shoulder unless there's wood up here, right? So I like that one. Yeah. So yeah, Beth, I mean, I would like to say this to everybody that's a viewer. Um, if you don't realize the impact you have on other people, you know, I'd be very sad. I think what makes these broadcasts so interesting, it's not it's not me. It's all of us together. It's all of us, having input, talking about reality that I think makes a difference for people. Beth, I love your humor. Beth saying I have Woody Woodpecker in my head. And that's why you got the chips on your shoulder, right? Brush them off. Yeah, I'm dull but sparkly. I mean, really? Okay, so, Kerry, here's the thing. Kerry, the thing is this. If you want to go there, that's your right. If you really want to believe you're a loser, if you really want to believe that you are dull, if you really want to believe whatever, then you would remind me of somebody else. It's a mirror, Kerry. So I don't believe it's true any more than I think that other person in their real state is that way either. It's at some level, it is the protection. If I believe this of myself, I don't have to do this, this, and this. What if I honestly believe that I wasn't a risk taker? Do you think I'd go and consider moving into a float home that could disconnect from the land and I could be ending up, like outcast. Bye, everybody. I'm not sure how to get out of this. How many of you can see that vision? I've got to blog this right now, people. I accidentally disconnected my float home from the dock, and I am now sailing down the Fraser River. How many of you can see that blog? I'm not quite sure what to do now. Hello? No, I'm not waving, sir. I need help. SOS. But yeah. There is that side of it, and so there are a lot of things I could talk myself out of if I wanted to, or I could say, any minute now, the right place is going to be shown to me. It's either going to be a corner unit, and I'll go, something for the money. This has a lot of light, a lot of room, and it's a good investment as well. Or I'm going to see somewhere that doesn't have any of the things I think I need, but I love it. And I know that I will adjust. Do you understand? Either of those two things can happen. That I will fall in love with the emotional view, or the fact that people waved to me as I went to go and look at the place or whatever. I understand that's emotional stuff, but I'm an emotional person. And I'm okay with it. And I will be only too glad to say, one of the reasons I bought this house is because you waved at me. And I will let that person know. I will always tell people that one of the reasons I bought the house I'm in now is because Yvonne's son looked at me that first time I came to look at it and said, "If you buy the house, will you be throwing me and my mommy out?" And I went, "What? No, if you buy the house, will you be throwing me and my mommy out?" That was his first question to me. And then the second time I went to visit, it was, "I hear you've got a big dog." I said, "Yes." "When you buy the house, will I be allowed to play with your dog?" How many of you know that not only did the house have all the right feelings in terms of light and everything else, how many of you know this 11-year-old kid sold me the house to a very large extent? Yeah, that was the tip over the top. I knew it was probably a good investment, and I knew all sorts of things. But how many of you know that the emotion of that 11-year-old kid took me over the top on, yeah, I need to put that much money in and buy this place. And it wasn't a wrong choice, even if I made it partially on emotion. It was a sign. Yes, Beth. Be aware of the warning signs, good and bad, because, you know, life will send you signs. Really, you'll be amazed how many things. Welcome back, Nana. So life will send you signs. Beth, in terms of your job, you're going to hear good things and you're going to hear bad things, but each one will be part of the lesson that you have to learn. And if you can't work out what it is, bring it here and we'll try and look at it for you. Kerry will tell you. Ah, well, you know something, Kerry, I know. Hi, Jamie. Good to see you, honey. Um, I know that, Mike's had a huge impact on your life. And, I would not be surprised. Well done, Jody. You lasted well. Um, Kerry, I wouldn't be at all surprised if the reason your emotions are a little bit up and down is, love does that to you, honey. And so, you just need to know that. Yeah, how many of you relate to that one? I was actually doing quite well, and then I fell in love. And then it fried my mind. Yeah, and I think it's wonderful. I really do. You deserve that, Kerry. You deserve to laugh and to enjoy somebody. Yeah, I really do believe that. Yeah, he's your Rick or your Bill or or Lionel. That's it's important. You deserve that. Now, here's the other thing, people. Most float home communities are around a lot of boats and marinas and things. So, how many of you know an awful lot of single men still have yachts and things? So, how many of you go, yeah, maybe that isn't a bad place for me to be? Maybe I will find myself, this- let's hope it's a single guy who can handle somebody that doesn't cook with garlic. Yeah. Wow, Beth. 4 weeks later, you were married. I think Nana did the same thing. Nearly. I think Nana got married very quickly after meeting Bill. Rick, what am I talking about? I'm thinking Pat now. Yeah, I think when she met Rick, she got married very soon afterwards. Now, some people will tell you that's a hasty decision, and they'd be right, and some people will tell you it was a good decision and it was right. I am sure that Nana's decision was perfect. 20, you've been married 28 years, Beth. Wow, isn't that wonderful? So, Beth, you've and he loved you regardless of what was going on in your mind, right? Don't you think that's incredible? Does he still love the new you? When I say the new you, but you've made a lot of changes in a hurry, so I just wonder how he's coping with it. Amazing, Nana. So Rick, you met 10, and 4 weeks later you got married, and 1 week of those four you were in hospital, and you've been married 41 years. Yikes! Yeah, well done. Good decision, Nana. You picked a winner. And I say the same thing. So we all have. But how many of you realize that if I hadn't had the failed marriages I did, I wouldn't be here today helping people? I see it now that, boy, every part of everything that happened in my life brought me to this point. And the fact that I'm not happily married isn't the end of my world, right? It isn't something that oh, I wish I were married. If it came along, I wouldn't say no. But something, I don't define my life by the fact I am happily married or not. I define my life as, have I done the best I could? Carrie, that would be perfectly normal. By the way, you will know when it's time to agree with it. Everything really does happen for a reason, Maggie. And you know what I say to myself so often? I remember when I first met Yvonne, something really tragic happened to her within the first year that I knew her. And I sent her a card, which she still has, apparently. But I sent her a card and I said, Yvonne, I know this doesn't make any sense today, but 5 years from now, you will be able to see that this tragedy that you've just experienced was, in fact, a major stepping stone to the rest of your life. And she every now and then something will happen and she'll say, no, 5 years from now, Sal, you taught me that. 5 years from now, it'll make a lot more sense. Yeah, Nana, I want to tell you something. That's what absolutely amazed me in my marriages. I managed to marry two different people who apparently did not think that the vows meant anything. And I said to both of them, didn't we give marriage vows that said, to love, honor, and obey, or whatever it was, through sickness and in health? And what's it, denying all others, hello, they were in the vows you gave me. So hello, yeah. What's up with this story? So to me it's like, I didn't want to quit on my marriages, but you have to have somebody who wants to go and get help with you. Yeah, and you know something, Beth? It's not, the fact that my mom didn't agree with my marriages either. And I could say she was right, but I keep looking at it and going, I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today. I wouldn't have lived the life that I've lived had I not followed my own path, and ignored some of what my mother. I heard what she had to say, and I understood she wanted to protect me. But we each make our own decisions. Whenever the young people in my life phone me and go, "Oh, this is happening. What should I do?" I said, I can't tell you what to do. It's your life. What I can do is tell you some options. All right. And because, honey, if I tell you this is the right thing to do, you're going to hate me forever. Yes, you see, Maggie, that happened to me in one of my marriages. All right. Um, Actually, two, if I think about it. But I was blinded by love as well, Maggie. I so relate to that. I probably will be again if I happen to fall across it. But it's just like eh, today. I think I'm a lot more realistic than I was, right? Yes, that's the other side of it, Beth. That sometimes our parents want us to stay and look after them. Your job in life is to look after them. Anybody who's lived with an alcoholic, anybody who's lived with a drama queen, if anybody's lived with, you can think of these things, but part of your job is to satisfy their need. So yeah, the pain of that is horrible, Beth, but at least you can see it now, right? You've grown enough to be able to see that. Well, you know something, Kerry, you know what I always say to people is, the every relationship we have will teach us what we need to know. I believe that every person we have met here on Dear Mama Sal has taught us something. How many of you, I could literally give you a list of names and you'd all go, oh yeah, I remember that person. And you will remember what they taught you. Because each person comes into our life and teaches us something if we care to listen, or if we care to, it might not be a good lesson, but everybody does teach us something. There have been an awful lot of successful people that have lived together with a huge age difference. Um, I don't think that there is a magic formula on that. Who is it? Who's married to who was the Star Wars uh, Harrison Ford? Harrison Ford. Look at the how old was his wife when he married her? Not very old, and he was already aging when he married her, as far as I remember. Mr. Flockhart, is it something like that? Um, and they've been married for the longest time, and presumably pretty happy. So I don't think that it's for anybody else to say. The other thing I have to say, Kerry, yeah, the other thing I would say to you is that life is short. I don't know if anybody else agrees with me, but if you have a chance to be happy, take it. Even if I look at the times that I have been happy, and I know that I've also had times when I've had terrible sadness because I've been betrayed or whatever, but I would not, I still am very glad for the happy times. I really am. I'm very happy for the things that I have in my life that will be my memories forever. Yes, Maggie, he gave me my boys, the best gift anyone could give me. Yes, you are so right. That is the right attitude. And he was the right man to do that, right? I look at it that my husband brought me to Canada. Actually, that's not quite true. I chased my husband to Canada eventually. But what I'm saying is, I came to Canada because he lived here, and it's not something I regret. I've loved living in Canada. So, do you understand that this whole business about our attitude is not about that we're happy all of the time? It's, do you know how to get balanced again? Erin, if you're still with us, the fact that you help Kerry get balance the way that you do is the greatest gift you could give a human. Yeah, I think that's a subject we should do at the beginning of a broadcast rather just at the very, actually, we're already over time. Yes, but that's a good subject, actually, um, Nana, about how many mothers have been separating their children from their husbands. Do you mean that they literally stop their children seeing their husbands? I just want to make sure I understand where you're coming from on this. How many mothers have been separating their children from their husbands? So if the husband, yes, I was going to say, if the husband is an abuser, you would be okay with that, I presume. But I would agree with you that both parents should be equally responsible for bringing up those children. And I think how many husbands have been allowed to just become deadbeat husbands? Is that fair? I don't think that's fair either. I would say I have met more women who've been abandoned by the father of their children than the other way around. So it goes both ways, but it's a good point. And what damage does it do to the children? And how many divorced people manipulate the children into disliking I can remember the number my mother did. So maybe we should have that as a discussion one day, the damage that gets done, right? Because it goes both ways. I've certainly I'm aware of that. Yeah. And that's about control, Nana, if you think about it. It's like, what compassionate human being could have done what happened in the States this week, It's just like I cannot believe that in this day and age that you could use children as a supposed bargaining tool because you wanted to build a border wall. I mean, really, go get a life, buddy. That is despicable in my view. Quite unnecessary and really, as I said, the interesting thing is you always wanted to be on the front of Time magazine. He even printed his own Time magazine cover with his face on it, which actually never happened. But now he's on the cover of Time magazine. Did any of you see that picture? Because that is an incredible front cover. And I went, wow, I bet you that's not the cover he wanted. Yep. Well, Beth, it has President Trump looking down at that. You remember that one girl that became the picture, that one kid that was crying her heart out, that became the picture of this whole catastrophe. And he's looking down, and that kid is looking up at him. And it didn't need anything else on the cover. That was the story. This huge man looking down on this pathetic child. I have power over you. And, it just didn't need any more words. And it didn't, as far as I remember, it didn't have any words on the cover. It just had that image. Yeah. And, there's a lot of injustice in the world. And we all need to know that is a reality. It isn't fair. And, Nana, my heart bleeds for you because I know this has scarred you for a lifetime. And you've been angry for a long time about it. I would tell you that, being abused isn't much fun either. Um, but life, doesn't go perfectly. But if we can believe there is a good reason for it all, I am certain that you fight for other people's rights much harder than you would have done if you hadn't had your own trampled on. And so I look at it and go, that sometimes we get given the bad so that we can see the good and help others through it. Yeah. And so, to me, it's like it's a really important part of life to realize that, the same as I talk about Erin and Jody and everybody else that's hurting physically. Um, I believe they are to help us. They're Yes, you were given enough, right? As was I. And so when I didn't have a husband, I didn't say I am less than. It was now I realized it was my opportunity to find out about myself and make myself happy. I'd spent half my life waiting for somebody else to make me happy. And it wasn't working. So guess what? It's time for me to work on myself. And I did. And I did a lot of work. I'm not perfect, as you all know. But it was a good lesson. And so everything that happens to you in my life now, yeah, you were given more than your fair share, but no more than you deserved, Kerry. And you've got so much more to come. And the same thing as I say to Jody, don't you dare tell me that you're not worthy. Because that is such a lie. I really believe that we all have the right to be happy. And quite right, Maggie, no one can make you happy but yourself. If you're waiting for somebody else to make you happy, you might have the gift of somebody that makes you happy, but if you live your life expecting that person to make you happy, then you will have times of great sadness because it's not their job. It is our job to have the right attitude and to make ourselves happy and to go and do the things that make ourselves happy. All right. Not to deny ourselves the things that make us happy because, yeah, you're the key to your own happiness, Kerry. I cannot beat that statement. So well done, everybody. I hope that some of you got some level of understanding about attitude. I'm sort of trying to find topics that I hope will make sense to a lot of us, right? And they're really just I'm using the quotes of famous people because to me it's like it's just a starting point so we can talk about things. Yes, Nana, I agree with you. It seems terrible that they would the government would want to charge you for your history. I agree with you, but it's probably not going to change. And Maggie, yes, happiness is a choice, and it's one we can all make. Or we can choose to be miserable and whiny and blaming everybody else for our unhappiness. We can do that too. You see, we are the sum. Remember that we are the sum of our own choices. Nana, there's part of me that goes, if you really stood up and banged your drum and talked to the government and your MP and everybody else about how wrong that is, you probably would be heard better today than any other time in history, right? That this isn't right. You should have had the right to be able to find out about your birth parents without having to pay for it. This had nothing to do with you. It had to do with the decision they made. But bureaucracy is bureaucracy. I actually don't think I should have to pay to drive my car, but I do. For the first time in your life, you're putting yourself first. You're right. You had rights. You still do, Nana. I quite agree with you. But when I lose my birth certificate, I have to pay for it to have it replaced, Nana. So is that fair? I suppose, and you can say yes because I had it once and I, didn't look after it properly. So, sometimes it doesn't seem fair, but it's like you've never seen yours. Exactly. Yeah. How much would you have to pay to see it? You said that you'd have to pay to get that information? How much would you have to pay? Why don't you find out? Because there's part of me that says, Nana, this comes up a lot in your life. When we talk about stuff, there's always this reference back to this. And I'm wondering whether it wouldn't be worth your while to actually pay the money and get that information once and for all, right? It's like, maybe that's something that you just need to bite the bullet on. And I want to do this for myself. I I've got a feeling you probably do because you keep bringing it up, Nana. I'm not being negative about that, but it is something that you always talk about it. Okay, so give it some thought. I'm not saying you have to do anything because it's your life, but do give that a bit of thought. Of course you're fearful. You might not like the information. I might not like living in a float home if I get one. It's a risk. We all take risks, and so therefore, I think it's a thing that each one of us needs to make that decision for ourselves. And I am a great believer that we need to hold ourselves accountable for our own decisions. I'm not going to tell anybody what I haven't. The whole reason I do what I do is because I think we need to talk about these things, and we don't all have to agree. We have the right to disagree. Um, and just because we disagree on some things doesn't mean that we can't still be a great group of people who help one another. And I really do thank all of you who do. This has been a little bit over time twice today. So I hope that some of you got some help out of doing this subject. It's not easy and it always ends up going in different directions, but that I always believe has reason as well. So this is DearMamaSal saying thank you so much for being here. And thank you for the journey I continue to have with you. And well done for all of you who are taking steps to look after yourselves. And Kerry, it's okay to have bad days. And Beth, keep looking after yourself, honey. Being good to you is what will make you happy, and you being happy will make the people around you happy. And yeah, not everybody will agree with us. That's life. But we do need to know that we made the decision and that we did it for our own happiness. And probably most people won't agree with this, and that's okay. Don't hate them for that. They just have they come from different places. This is Dear Mama Sal giving you all a big hug. Remember to look after one another. But we always say, most of all, please look after yourself. Jody, thank you so much for your help. Thank you all for your time. This is Dear Mama Sal saying good night. Bye-bye for now.